This guy, I know, he paints houses. He asked me for work, and I said, yeah, if you take your time and do a good job, right? But I said, I highly doubt that you'll be able to do this, man, because they just they can't grasp the resurfacing aspect of doing decks. They can't grasp it for what I mean, even when you explain it to them, right? So even when you manually sit down with them and pound it into their head, listen, you have to take your brush, you have to take your roller, you have to resurface, you have to press into cracks, you have to press into gaps, you have to press. And it's hard work. It's not going to be something that's easy. It's not like rolling out an interior wall. Your arms are going to be wore out at the end of the day. You're going to be tired, right? Even after you express this to them and tell, hey, my company, we resurface decks, and we don't stop until they're pretty resurfaced, right? You can't leave a bunch of hairlines in the deck, right? Oh, no, I got it. I know what you're talking about, right? And then I'll show up, and what do we got? And this is just from inexperience. If he was pressing from the very beginning, this coating system would have filled this all out, no problems, none whatsoever. And these are very minor, and that's not a big deal, but for some reason a regular house painter, they just can't, for whatever the reason is, even with instruction, they still can't do this. That's unfortunate. You see, he left some big ones over there. I'm getting ready to refill these. I'll show you guys when I'm done. So you can already start to see, right? This is his here. All the hairlines, right? You see that? And then back to that point, back all the way back to right there is where I've been resurfacing. Where I just came through and resurfaced. Couple stragglers, sure. And I'll go back and get them too. But you can tell majorly a difference between mine and his. That's house painter. The house painter that doesn't have any experience, number one, with elastomer pressing. You got to understand the tool that you're using. You got to understand the coating system that you're using, and you got to be able to make it function. You got to understand what it takes to make it work properly. And then a lot of these guys a lot of them just don't care, right? It's when you're resurfacing something, you have to take the time to actually resurface it. That's part of this, right? My customers pay a premium to have a good, tough, lifetime armor system on their deck. And that doesn't work, right? And ultimately, it's my responsibility. I'm the one that ultimately has to make sure that this happens, right? I'll show you guys the difference. What's kind of separated me over the years from other guys and the product that I try to deliver versus what the local pack's pushing out, right? So already you can tell a major difference between my floor, right? So this is my floor, completely resurfaced. You're hard pressed to find a hairline in here, right? Super built, thick, tough. This is what we can do with Kong if you apply it correctly, but it has to be applied correctly, right? If you're playing around like a house painter, rolling out a wall with a little weenie roller, that's not the deal, right? But you can tell it starts with the right equipment, right? So it starts with actually using the equipment that's designed for decks, right? So it kind of starts with switching over your equipment from house painting equipment to deck coating equipment, right? And that's constantly what I try to push to some of these guys that are trying to learn how to properly coat a deck, regardless of whether they're using my system or some other system. It doesn't make a difference. You need the right equipment, right? But kind of what separated me over the years is little stuff like this. I'll actually go in as what I call thick. It's what I call thick coating. We have a thick coating, but on top of that, we're going to thickly coat, right? So we're going to come in and I'm pressing down into that to fill that. I don't want that left on my deck system, right? I want that filled in. If we can fill in fill in as many of those as we can, then what we know is it keeps the water out for the customer. Same thing here, a little bit of reseal. You see the little bit there? Difference between me and him. I'm gonna come back and get that and press in, right? I'm gonna build this out thick and nice and full-bodied and gorgeous and tough, right? That's what I want. That's what I want from my customer. I don't want them having to redo this next spring, right? Same thing here. You know, we're gonna come in. Sometimes you gotta smash down in there to get it. That's part of it. You gotta use your muscles, right? You gotta use your muscles. See the hairlines that he left? Not a huge deal. Those aren't massive, and sometimes I'll let those ride, but while we're here, come in, press down with elastomer, draw that out for them, right? This is what we're here to do. We're here to resurface this. Same thing here, boom. And if you're doing this from the beginning, from the very first coat, by the time you get to your second coat, you can just roll it out like a house because you're done. You've resurfaced a lot of it, right? So rebuilding the surface is what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do to this deck system. It's not so much about just getting coating on it. It's about delivering a product that's going to last. We don't want water to get down in there long term, so we're going to fill that in. Fill that head in, right? The best we can for them. It's not going to be perfect. That gate moniker, it's just a gate moniker. Just go ahead and smack that, right? It's not a big deal. That's not a huge deal. Just go ahead and smack that. This type of stuff, a regular painter will leave that because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the water, the issues that the water will cause with that. I'm going to come in and beat that to death and cover that in. I don't want any water to get to those screws, right? The difference. And then I'm coming, and everything I'm doing is with thick in mind. Thick. Again, it starts with having the right equipment. If you're coating a deck, then you need a deck brush. You need a roller that's designed for a deck. It can't be a sissified deal because we're not coating the inside of a house. Same thing here. This aggravates me, right? Because I can look at this and I can see the lack of protection for the customer. You see? This is typically what people in Northern Kentucky are getting when they hire somebody from the local pack to do their deck. You'll be able to see the difference between what I do with this knot here. So I'm gonna engulf that bad dude. We're gonna keep water out of there, right? This deal, pressing down in there to fill that dude in, right? And I'm coming with the intent to fill in. That's my whole deal. This is how I succeeded. This is how I built a brand that outpaced everybody, was by working with the intent of the customer in mind. That's it. I mean, it's just that simple. Working with the intent to do what's right for the customer. That was it. That's still it for me. Every day I do this. Every day I'm out here making sure that these are getting what they're supposed to get. Sure, it's a lot tougher for me now because I help a lot more people, right? A lot more people seek me out for help. But look at this. We can help them better than this. We can keep the water out of there and keep it from ruining that bolt. Look at that. Kong is amazing when we talk about its resurfacing ability. It's unbelievably amazing, but you have to put in the effort, right? You have to put in. That's why so many people, they'll contact me and say, well, dude, I can buy a thick coating and put it on my deck. Like, yeah, but you just don't understand. You don't have the experience in applying it like you're supposed to and understanding how to work with a thick coating. You just don't. Even if you could get something similar to Kong, you can't beat the experience that comes with this. Now that's $1,000,000 better than all those hairlines showing, all those bolts exposed. This right here, this is probably lightly coated with Kong and it's protected well. But why? When we can come in, this is a deck, it's not a house. Smack that. Let's get some really thick build on there. It don't have to look like $1,000,000. Let's get some thick build on there and really protect them bolts, right? Now, big difference. And when you talk about over here, see, there was a big crack here. You can see opening in the 4x4 there where water's getting down into it. I came in and closed this off because he left it open, just left it exposed on the customer, right? Why? Same thing here, big giant crack where the screw head was exposed, which we know that water is going to get to the screw head and we know it's going to break it down, right? Why? We're here. It takes no more time. We use silverback epoxy and it dries in 20 minutes. Most guys have to use a filler that takes hours to dry. So why? We're here. Let's just work with the intent right now. Let's work with the intent right now to get this over with. Let's end this, right? Let's end this ball game. Let's give them the best protection that there is right from the get-go. Boom. Now that crack that was there, that ran all the way up through there, that was probably a 1/4 inch thick, that water was getting down into and sitting down in there for extra days, starting to cause mildew and rot, is covered over. And water can't get down there anymore and eat out this 4x4. And here in 5 years, they won't have to replace this 4x4. It's simple. It's logic. It's what's right for the customer. It's what's right for the customer that matters. Not about, see this? See the hairline? Can you see the hairline there? There's no sense in that being there because Kong can fill that. Kong can fill that. Easy. No freaking problem. Slap paint. That's what I call slap painting, where we're coming in and just smacking coating in between a crack or something like that. Boom. It's down in that crack. Nobody's ever going to look down there and look for a level 5 finish. It's never going to happen. Same thing here. Same thing going on. Cracks that could have been filled in from the very get-go. From the word jump. And that's kind of the difference, right?